I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a request from Daryl. Sorry about the lateness. Thank you so much for the request. If anyone wants to request pretty much any type of reviews or topics or reactions or re-reviews or reviews of something, movies, things other than movies, just pretty much any other type of request, you just send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you so much. Now, Daryl wanted me to talk about The Invisible from 2007. And I went, oh. Not because of Daryl, but because I remember this movie. I did watch it again to refresh my memory. This is directed by David Goyer. David Goyer is a guy... Back in the day, I actually liked some of the stuff he worked on. He worked on scripts for Death Warrant, a Jean-Claude Van Damme film I enjoy, and I reviewed. He did a nice job writing Dark City, Blade 2, loved those two films, did a nice job writing those. But then he directed Blade Trinity. He directed this movie. He directed The Unborn. Blade Trinity, I think, is a piece of fucking shit. The Unborn, laughable shit. This, boring shit. He would go on to write Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance with Ghost Rider Piss and Fire. He would go on to fucking write Man of Steel with Superman. Or Batman v Superman, Dawn of Butt Sex. He wrote that too. Martha, why did you say Martha's name, Martha? The Martha. Fuck. Yeah, I did. Martha. Martha. Must be Marcia. But did you fucking Brady Bunch in there? Marcia. David Goyer, I don't think he's as talented as people make it out to be. I think he was back then. I don't think he is nowadays. I think one of the things that made me really change my mind on David Goyer, number one, because of movies like Blade Trinity, this, writing Batman v Superman and other bullshit. That's just my opinion. If you like the films, that's cool. But I remember there was a panel he did. He said two really stupid fucking things. And this is a guy that writes comic book films. The first thing he said was, well, She-Hulk, they only made her so the Hulk could find someone to fuck. Mr. Goyer, you do realize that they're cousins, right? You do realize that, right? So if the Hulk fucked her, number one, it'd be illegal. Number two, I don't think they're kissing cousins. But see, David Goyer didn't know that because he's such a comic book expert. Hence, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. And Blade Trinity, which he directed. The second thing he did was, I think during the same panel he went, how many of you have heard of Martian Manhunter? Now, how many of you have ever been laid? Because apparently Martian Manhunter is, you've never been laid. Well, you know what, David Goyer? Paying for it don't count. So maybe you're the one who has been fucking laid, man. Oh, I'm sorry you have. You just need to pay for it. David Goyer just seems like a fucking schmuck. To me. To me. And you have no right to talk about shit when you did bullshit like Blade Trinity and The Unborn and this. Now, I know it's 5 minutes in. What is The Invisible? The Invisible to me just seemed like a boring version of Ghost with Patrick Swayze. With differences, but a person, in the case of Ghost, the person died and then wanted to find out what happened with his murder. Here, it's a guy who gets beaten up, left for dead, but he has an out-of-body experience, so he's like a ghost, but he wants to find out about his almost murder. And granted, maybe me saying it's like Ghost is stretching it thin, but that's what it seemed like, just a piss poor version of Ghost among other elements. And one of the biggest problems is the lead guy, Justin Chatwin. This is the guy that played the lead guy Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution. Yes, Goku was played by this white motherfucker in Dragon Ball Evolution. He's also the son in the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds movie. Oh, one of the big things I hated about that film, and I liked the War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. I liked it. But I even said one of the worst things is the son. He's annoying. Now maybe it was the way he was written, or maybe it was the actor. But you know what? Maybe it is the actor, because Dragon Ball Evolution sucked, and his part in War of the Worlds sucked, and he sucks in this. This is why he didn't do a lot of work afterwards. I'm sorry. This guy, there's so many other actors you couldn't pick, whether it be Justin Gordon-Levitt or Paul Walker or any other actors that would have been much better. You know, was it Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Paul Walker, or some others. Even someone like a Thomas Jane. Like, it could be an older person. Doesn't need to be a teen. Just, I don't mind the idea of a person who's not quite dead, but he has an out-of-body experience, and the trailers make it seem as if this is a mystery. It's not a mystery. He knows right off the bat who fucking did it. We know off the bat who the fuck did it. But this guy, I thought at times he was either really emotionless, or when he tried to show emotions, whether it's him or the way David Goyer directed it. There's a moment literally where he gets frustrated. He's in the middle of the street and he goes like this. He literally puts his hands, both hands out like this. And I'm like, is this supposed to be laughable, or am I supposed to feel sorry for this guy? And I'm sorry. There's a moment later on where he talks to his mom, and he's like, Mom, I'm dead. As she closes the door, so he's like, Mom, I'm dead. And just, again, just the way he delivered that line, and either it's the way he directed it or it's the actor himself. It was really fucking piss poor. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I'm being honest. Now, the actual story, that character, he's going to skip graduation. He wants to go to London for this writing program. His mom is played by Marcia Gay Harden. She was the crazy religious lady in The Mist with Thomas Jane. He has a buddy played by Chris Marquette. He's a guy in Freddy vs. Jason who had the crush on Destiny's Child. What the fuck was her name? Kelly Rowland. He had the crush on Kelly Rowland. He was a bit of a nerdy guy. He plays the lead guy's buddy here. And in the first like 15 minutes, there's a scene where the lead is at a table with his mom. He looks down, and literally it's eggs as the eyes, and I think nose, and bacon as the lips, and a smiley face. He talks to his mom, doesn't like what his mom says. He turns back to his fucking plate, and he turns it upside down, the bacon. So now it's a smiley has gone to a frowny. You know what? When Pee Wee Herman did that stuff, it worked. Because that shit seems funny and comedic. Or like when he had the Mr. T cereal. Ooh, I pity the fool. I'm going to eat, you know. I'm going to eat my cereal. Pity the fool. That's what it seemed like. Pee Wee Herman would be the type to have fucking AIDS and bacon and a smiley face. This is supposed to be like somewhat serious movie. So I don't know what the fuck was up with that scene. So his buddy's getting picked on at school by this gang of kids led by this girl who she's supposed to be the tough girl, but this girl's like fucking 3 feet tall. And anyone who gets their ass kicked by this lady is a pussy, to be honest. But she is the tough girl, but she has her issues at home as well, and she's trying to take care of her brother, and her father neglects everybody, and the father's girlfriend is being a bitch. So she goes out, she gets into trouble, she commits this jewelry, can't even talk right, this a robbery of a jewelry store. She hides the evidence. The guy who helped her rob it calls the cops on her, but she thinks Chris Marquette, the lead guy's buddy, did it. And then he gives up his buddy, our lead character, because, well, he's in London, so I'll just give him up and they won't find him, but they do. And this guy, who the character of the lead guy's buddy, the character Chris Marquette plays, if this is your friend, with friends like this, who needs enemas? I did not screw up. I meant what I said. Who needs any of that shit? This is the worst friend you could have. Because he blames the incident on his friend, our lead character, when he had nothing to do with it. The bad guys run him down and beat the shit out of him, and Chris Marquette could say anything. He doesn't. Then they beat him up so much they think he's dead. Again, Chris Marquette doesn't say anything. Drives him to a place to dump the body. Again, this Chris guy doesn't say anything. There's even a point later on where he finally goes, I'm going to go to the cops. And the girl goes, well, if you do, you were there, so you don't get arrested. I'm like, this friend is such a pussy. And obviously we're supposed to be like, yeah, he's suffering through guilt. That's why later on he tries to commit suicide. Well, still, if I was the lead guy, when this shit gets over, I would dump this guy as a friend. I'm like, fuck you, I don't need you as a friend. Jason Voorhees would be more of a friend to me than you. Get the fuck out of here. So the lead guy, it's the next day, he wakes up. He walks out of the force, he gets in the class, but no one can notice him. And that's when he realizes he's invisible, something's going on. And they do this thing, I don't know why they went with this idea. It's almost as if they said, well, we want to differentiate from ghosts, so let's have him do this thing where he will throw something, hit something. Then he looks down, the book is still there. Then he looks over, the thing he broke is not broke. Or there's a moment where he throws this girl that, at this point, almost killed him, off a building. He does it, then he looks back and the girl's just standing there. It's like he can, like, what are we even supposed to think? That he pushed this, but then he didn't push it. He threw this person off a building, but then he really didn't. So he's really believing that he can do this, but then, like, why even do that? I don't even get, what is the point of doing that? The reason, it makes these outbursts seem meaningless. Just nothing's affected by it. Not the story or any of such shit. I mean, other than at one point he's able to steer some birds so a cop sees someone and follows them, but other than that, oh yeah, silly bumps to a girl, she falls down. But he lifts the girls up and walking normally. So I'm like, it just seemed like we were only doing this just to differentiate ourselves from Ghost. That's it. And that's where he realizes, oh, maybe I'm dead. And that's where he screams, with arms wide open. When he did that, I swear that song was going to pop up. With arms wide open. I actually like Creed, so. And that's the song from Creed. And one time when the lead died, like, there's a point in the film where, shit, I'm alive. Because he finds this bird, and he can actually hold the bird, and he realizes that there's another bird over there that looks exactly like it, and it's not dead, but it's like gasping its last breaths. And when it dies, then the bird disappears. That's where you realize, oh shit, this is what's really going on. And he's like, shit, I'm alive. But he says those, think about that, you've realized that you're alive, you're not dead, but you say it with the emotion of, oh man, I picked up some apple cinnamon Cheerios. Maybe he'd be more excited if he picked up apple cinnamon Cheerios or some Captain fucking Crunch than finding out that he's fucking alive. And then the girl, I don't give a shit about her fucking troubles. And then the movie, like, it wants to then be this, like, love story where the girl that tried to kill him, now she can start hearing the guy. I don't know. It never explains why, though. It never explains why all of a sudden, out of all the people, she can hear the lead. The movie never explains that. It's just, no, now she starts hearing him. It's like they wrote this, I don't even think David Goyer wrote it. I think someone else wrote it. But it's like they got to a fucking corner and went, well, shit, what do we do next? She hears him. Why does she hear him? Just fucking do it. Okay. And then because of that, they get to know each other because she visits his room and he witnesses off the wall how she reacts. I don't buy these stupid. You see this fucking yawn? That's how I felt watching this fucking movie. I was not invested in the characters. I was not that invested with the story. Maybe the story could be potentially good if given the hands of different writers and director. But, you know, then it turns this love story where, you know, she's guilt-ridden with what she did to the guy. The guy's telling him, like, you gotta find where my body's at. You gotta find where my body's at. And then she finds out their former boyfriend is the one who narked on her. The lead guy's buddy tries to commit suicide, and then he's able to be a out-of-body guy for a minute or two. One thing, at least now they find out where the body's rescued. Meanwhile, the girl, she's been shot in the stomach. And this, I don't buy this romance shit that because of what they have, because the girl heard him a couple times, like, hey, you killed me, and then looked around his room for 2 minutes, then all of a sudden she's like in love with him. I mean, the final bit of the movie is he's in a hospital bed. Even though she's been shot in the stomach, she gets into bed with him and then dies of his wounds, and she says, I'm sorry. And there's even a point before that where the girl is confronted by the mom. And the girl's like, I gotta get in there. He needs me. Needs you for what? All you did was come in and say, I'm sorry. There's a few more words than that. Is that okay? Then she fully gets to the hospital bed, says sorry, and dies. Sorry about that. I just don't... The lead guy sucked. For a good chunk of the plot, he was ineffective. He could not do anything to drive the plot along because he was invisible. So for the most part of the film, he can't do anything to further the story. Your lead character, in a way, becomes a bystander of his own fucking story. At least with Ghost, Patrick Swayze was not a bystander. He was still moving the story forward. With, you know, whether be able to talk to other ghosts, be able to talk to and possess Whoopi Goldberg's character, and then be able to, you know, move the penny and move it up, and that's a romance that you bought into. But in this whole thing, it just, again, it just, even though the plot's different enough, it just came off as a weak-ass version of Ghost. With having romance in there. By the end, one of them is dead. And this just wasn't for me. I thought it was boring when I first saw it. I thought it was boring watching it again. Yeah. And these actors, I don't really buy these actors in this role. I'm sorry, I don't. Again, this whole romance that culminates from the girl that a day or two ago literally tried, almost murdered you, but now you don't fall for each other. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out. Visual wise, I can't think of anything that stands out. I'm yawning. I'm getting tired, ready to fall asleep. Just fuck this movie, really, at the end of the day. It's just a lame-ass, boring movie. Just go watch Ghost with Patrick Swayze. You get much better time than this. The movie's so goddamn invisible, no one knows it exists. I don't blame them. Later.